My name's Rob Reenstra. I own and operate Beeworks Farm in Bellingham and Whatcom County, and our focus is making quality local honey. Sometimes we have maple honey in the spring, frequently raspberry, blackberry, wildflower, fireweed, and alpine flower. And we do a bit of moving our bees around to find the forage. It's not always easy to come by, and we kind of pride ourselves on keeping strong, healthy hives. Every year is different. There's years where we get, large honey crops, and years where we get small honey crops, and it seems like the bees do particularly well when they're well fed. I get a lot of questions about why we move the hives and where we move them, and sort of the ins and outs of why we're doing what we do. We have all these colonies of bees that live through the winter. And when spring comes and the temperature comes up and food is available, and in western Washington, the first things we notice are the dandelions start popping up. And so on those days where it's warm enough, maybe plus 50s and over, and there's forage out, the bees start collecting a lot of new nectar and pollen, building up the brood nest. And so that's our moment in April, essentially throughout the month of April and the first week of May. We will requeen a whole lot of colonies, and we will split a whole lot of colonies. Where we had one, we may turn it into 2 or 3 more colonies. And so we will make a whole lot of new starts, and then they kind of continue to build up through April and May. And then sometime in middle of June, usually we start to get a honey flow, and at that point we will be putting on supers, and that's when you see like beehives getting taller, and that's where they're putting away surplus honey that we can take off the hive. When we make all these splits in April, we will then, maybe we have a bee yard that has 40 colonies in it, and then we make an additional 40 splits off that yard at that time. So then we'll load them on a truck with a forklift and drive them to a new spot where we place them, and then they'll sit for a couple of months. Once we get into July sometime, some of the forage down in the lowlands, maybe like under 1,000 feet, starts to get a little thin, and that's when we start moving the hives up into the clear cuts of the foothills where they can forage in the avalanche chutes and alpine meadows above tree line. By late August, we've pulled all the honey, and in September we start moving all the bees back down to sea level, closer to Bellingham area. In the fall, there's all these plants that produce a lot more pollen, and because of that, they can produce many more bees and build up a real strong colony for the winter. It's a lot of bent over work and working at night, moving the bees, and all of this, and my employees are super great at that, and really appreciate it. We have people who buy our honey for a multitude of reasons: health benefits, allergies, cooking, taste. My real passion is creating the best tasting honey. That depends a great deal on the timing of where we put the hives and when we pull the honey off the hives, and also how we harvest that honey. And we always sell our honey raw and unfiltered. We also sell cut comb honey, and which is kind of a rare and almost lost art. So whatever your reason is for buying honey, I think you'll find ours fantastic as far as taste goes and variety. We enjoy doing this work. It's hard work, but it's outside, and that's where I love to be, and we enjoy it. Hope you enjoy the honey.